Happy Saturday morning as Christmas season starts to grip and the trees and the window and the holly and all the windows in downtown Stanton are starting to make you feel like it's time to get ready for it. And then a little bit of snow just to give the kids a delayed opening or two in schools. And our friend Cynthia Hash is here. It is Reality of Real Estate and Find Homes Realty. How was your Thanksgiving, Cynthia?
It was great. We actually did something very creative. Well, maybe not as creative. You know how people just stress the heck out over so many dishes and
Oh,
so
yeah.
many specialties and so
Who's
much
bringing
cooking,
what?
and it's
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And so we decided to hire basically Kroger, okay, to do everything.
Wow. Very
They
nice.
did
So
everything, and all we had to do is warm it up.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
How far in advance did you have to let them know? I imagine that's something you can't just walk in on.
Yeah, it's a week or so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So,
exactly. But still it was more longer than a week. I think we let them know about 10, 12 days ahead of time.
mhm.
And you walk in, they have it all boxed up for you, all the directions are there, you know. And so that made us so that only, we could do like only our type of deviled eggs that we like, or
Right.
only
The little
yeah.
those somebody makes squash soup or something like that,
Yeah, yeah. So,
That's it.
so the
Now,
specialty items were good. So, anyway, how about you? Did you have a good time?
the key is who came by from Kroger to wash the dishes afterwards.
Hey, you know what? Sam's was selling these great big, nice dinner plates that were very dressy looking and Thanksgiving
Mhm.
beautiful looking. Okay. And so I bought a whole packet of those things and it was just fabulous.
Oh,
We,
so you did the went the recycling route.
I sure did.
That's it. All right. So you were plug and play. Well, that's good though. I mean, you have more time to hang out with the family then.
See, that's the thing is there's always somebody that's busier than everybody and you can't
Hmm.
even visit, you know?
Yep.
And so that's the reason why we did it. We didn't want anybody to stress out this year.
It's a good
So,
idea. That's
yeah,
creative. And uh
yeah.
and then yeah, everyone has a good time. So what's going on in real estate now that we're into the Christmas season? Anyone buying anyone a house for Christmas or honey, look what I got you,
I know, right? It's like that diamond ring that they give all these,
I don't know
jewelry.
anyone, and nobody gave a Lexus to me for Christmas. The
I know,
ad always
right?
seems to look like somebody's getting this new car for Christmas. It never was me, but
Yeah.
uh, but
Well, I tell you what's going on. And this has been a very busy last quarter of 2025, and I mean in real estate, I mean it's
Mhm.
been very very busy. I didn't ex I did expect it because I was like about April or so. I was like, you know what, something else is going on here, and
Okay.
I got a sneaking suspicion our spring market is gonna we're gonna have another spring market in the fall. And it ended up being that way, at least for me personally, I know,
Hmm.
and a lot of other realtors that I know, same kind of deal. We've been very busy this last quarter, and I believe this is an indication as to what 2026 is going to be like. I think it's going to be leveling out so that it's not too heavily a seller's market. It's more going to be a stable market, I think. And the correction that's been happening that feels anytime you're corrected, it feels tough.
Yeah.
And when you're going through that kind of correction, which is what we have been going through, I think that is going to level out, probably by the second quarter of 2026. So, in the meantime, though, let me just say there's one thing after another that's going on in the legal world, and that
Uh-oh.
is, uh, and so there's literally like seven or so lawsuits against what I call Godzillow. Arr. Yeah, they're trying to
Coming
take
to,
over, right?
oh my goodness.
And so my question is to people, do you really want to feed the monster?
So So
Yeah.
what kind of lawsuits are they facing? I didn't know about some of these. They haven't made the wires or anything
Mm-mm.
else.
Well, some of these things have been a little crazy. So I would say that you've got RESPA, possible RESPA violations
Now, what
that
does
are
that stand for? Just don't hand me the sharp objects. I didn't carve the turkey this year, so but what is RESPA?
so that's the Real Estate Settlement Procedures Act.
Oh,
Okay.
okay, makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah. It's a federal law and it's designed to protect consumers
Hmm.
in the real estate process, the whole, the settlement process. And so lenders have to make certain disclosures regarding costs and things like that. And basically, it this it allows the person who is purchasing or selling, especially purchasing with a lender, okay, it allows them to have basically like a 3-day right to review everything that they're getting ready to sign,
Okay.
mainly the closing disclosure. And the whole purpose is to um, make sure that the borrowers get timely and very important disclosures and and be able to uh, you know double check to make sure the lenders aren't
Hmm.
inflating prices of the home loans.
Well, also, I mean, I can imagine a hard pressure thing like I got to
Hmm.
know by 5 o'clock today, and if
Hmm.
you know that you have a window,
Yeah.
you can push back on that because I'm sure the high
Hmm.
pressure sale can make people a lot of, feel very off put.
Yeah, that's true. And I can tell you that this what I how they were violating, okay, they meaning Zillow, or at least being accused of violating
Hmm.
these rules, is the fact that they are, they're they're so Zillow now has their own lender, okay, and it's called
Oh,
Zillow Home Loans. Go figure.
oh my
And
goodness.
yes, and
I had no
so
idea.
yeah, so what happens is these agents that literally pay Zillow for their leads because of the platform and how so many people use their platform, okay?
Hmm.
Uh, th- that what happens is they're called premier agents. Woo.
Yeah.
And flex programs and all these things. And what it does is it sells the consumer's contact information to agents who basically say, Zillow, I want your leads because I can't get the business myself.
Oh my goodness. That sounds
Yeah.
like Glenn Garrett, Glenn Ross, who's got the good leads. And if you
Yeah.
pay enough for them. So what were they accused of violating this settlement? Were they doing the
Ex
high pressure thing?
exactly. So what was happening is they were kind of really um pressuring these agents who belong to, Zillow as a, paying customer basically,
Hmm.
but then they take, part of their commission too. So
Oh my gosh.
the yeah, the allegations were that there were agents who, if they met certain targets for Zillow Home Loans or ZHL or whatever, if these agents met certain targets, for these referrals from Zillow, then and they would always have to. They were being pressured into saying, "Oh, you've got to use, Zillow Home Loans,"
Oh,
and yeah. And so what was
yeah.
happening is Zillow was favoring these. At least these are the allegations. Okay, Zillow was favoring these real estate agents who were getting and they were getting better, giving them better leads, and if they didn't, refer Zillow Home Loans, then they were threatened with losing access to their Flex program
Holy cow. I
on
mean, it's
Zillow.
it's just
Yeah.
closers get coffee. So so it really sounds like because I remember when was it one of the banking it was Wells Fargo got in
Hmm.
trouble for
Yeah.
putting commission quotas on their their agents, and they were creating fake accounts just to match the quotas and everything. I've never been a fan of quotas because you're
Hmm.
begging for people to
Cheat.
fudge numbers. All right, cheat. You cheat is
Hello.
such a harsh word. I'm glad you used it.
But
I'm the
that's
warm
what
and
it
fuzzy
is.
guy. Yeah, no, it's a so that's one of the things they're being
Yeah.
sued about. Wow.
That's exactly right. So if you are, so an agent should not be put in that kind of position because they're paying a lot of money to Zillow just to have those leads, right? And so
Hmm.
if they're being put into that position, then they're like, oh, well, gosh, that's my bread and butter because I can't get leads on my own because I've got to have Zillow leads.
Well, yeah,
And
I mean,
so,
and what if
yeah,
the buyer says, "No, I want to use my local bank,
exactly.
Blue Ridge Bank or something like that, or
And
Union One."
it's not the agent's fault if that's happening.
Right.
Right? Because the agent is required to, from basically, code of ethics and representing the client
Hmm.
and so forth is required to at least give them another lender or two to choose
Sure.
from, right?
That's
So that,
ethical, right?
yeah, it could be one of the three, but that's okay. Let
Hmm.
them choose, right? But what this does is it creates a conflict of interest. So it
Uh-huh.
deprives the buyers of unbiased advice.
True, yeah.
And
You're right.
so it violates consumer protection laws. And buyers are not always aware of what their agents' incentives are.
Well, sure, because you've picked the agent, and therefore you've picked
Mhm.
somebody that you think you should trust because they do this all the time, you don't.
Right.
And
Right.
so that abuse of that position is why oh gosh I'm fascinated to follow this suit through because that kind of stuff really is
Yeah.
problematic and it makes a lot of people mad at quote the system and
Yeah.
I don't want that to happen.
So yeah, this is what's bad. Even, I know these are just allegations at this point, but the
Hmm.
evidence is that there are 12 insiders who corroborate these claims.
Oh wow.
And yeah, and so they have testimonies already in, so it's almost kind of like um, the other portion of this, okay, is that it's like job discrimination. So yeah, like a one-day employee, has filed that kind of thing,
Right.
lawsuits and wrongful termination, toxic work environment, blah blah blah.
Hmm.
Those kind of allegations are going around right now. Even retaliation, like a culture of retaliation,
Within Zillow.
with and harassment and and a manager that's like it's like age-related comments and things
Oh
and
my gosh.
termination over like medical documentation. I mean, come on.
Well,
And
this is something that happens when these
yeah,
groups grow really big
yeah,
really fast because
yeah.
generally you find that when you get really big really fast, you're not always very careful with the people you're hiring. And you wind up with people in positions of power that probably shouldn't have it.
Yeah. And so what this does is it creates a problem with the entire industry. So now what happens is, let's think about this. You are you're a buyer.
Hmm.
You found your agent. You don't know what their motivation is, why they're telling you go with Zillow, but dude, you've been using that app to find the house.
Right.
So why wouldn't you be okay with that? Do you see? And then these are like, it's just, yeah, it's really bad if you think about it. Then you got yet another thing, and these are the bigger ones,
Hmm.
the antitrust violations. So,
I was going to say,
so,
it sounds almost like they were acting like a monopoly.
uh-huh,
So it's good to
uh-huh.
see that somebody's brought this up.
Yes, exactly. So, like the Compass lawsuit, that, Compass is a competitor.
Hmm.
Okay, so they filed an antitrust lawsuit accusing Zillow of using its power basically to ban competitors' listings
Oh my gosh.
from its platform for a certain period of time. I think they're back on board, but still, And then there's an FT, with the Federal Trade Commission (FTC) lawsuit.
Hmm.
The FTC sued Zillow and Redfin over an alleged illegal agreement to
Oh,
basically limit competition for advertising in the rental industry.
yeah, because
Yeah.
then you start to get into
Hmm.
price fixing and all sorts
Yeah.
of other things that can go on
Hmm.
in those collusive relationships.
That's
Wow.
exactly right. And so, and then, okay, so then another one, okay, is
And
the
the hits just
cop.
keep on coming. It's nonstop. Wow.
That's exactly right. But remember, I think I mentioned this before at some point, but it was a copyright infringement thing where CoStar was suing Zillow for what it calls rampant and unauthorized use of its listing photos. And so what
Oh,
they were
that's right. You did
alleging,
do that. That's an earlier show. Yeah.
that was, yeah, they were alleging that basically CoStar was alleging that this constitutes one of the largest real estate image infringement, say that fast 10 times, image infringement cases in history. And so, and of course, Zillow claims that they're, weaponizing litigation to reduce the competition, but I don't think that's true. Um, but what we're looking at, what this whole thing is looking at here is it's a wave of legal challenges
Hmm.
that Zillow is facing because they are power hungry and out of control at this point.
Well, what is I was curious, you were talking earlier, you were talking about the deals
Hmm.
they may have with Redfin and
Hmm.
FTC is looking at. What about, you got multiple listing service that's supposed to kind of protect all of you guys to make sure you all have access to these listings. I mean, if
Yeah.
am I misunderstanding the multiple
No,
listing service?
yeah, so that's what it's for.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, I don't know when it was, 20 years ago or so, where they where the National Association of Realtors and VAR and all the local associations,
Hmm.
these other companies were just popping up saying, well, we kind of want to get on board and be able to, show these listings on our website. And then the synchronization started going, which is the IDX, which is called Internet Data Exchange. Okay.
Hmm.
And so all of that was happening, and there were a lot of agents and a lot of brokerages that said, you know what, I don't want to be on board with this. This sounds like this is, not the road to go down
Yeah.
because, you want it. Most of the time, you think, real estate is hyper local, right?
Sure.
And,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
I'm moving
and
into Stanton and I want to
mhm,
find a house in Stanton, so I'm going to hire
yeah,
somebody from I saw Cynthia Hash online and
mhm,
and if you want to watch this, if you want to see what Cynthia and I look like, she posts the videos up of these as well in her social media and shares. So it's not just the
yeah,
dulcet sounds, but and so you say, well, she's Stanton, so let's go call her, and then
yeah,
you find out you're not. That's going to
yeah.
put
So
some noses out of joint.
it kind of does, and I'm actually was talking to somebody today about listing a place in Stanton, and so these are things that but yet we also do Charlottesville and
Right, right. Yeah.
Louisa County and all the huge area, and quite frankly at least a dozen counties,
Hmm.
but back to the super app. The monster app, the
Godzillow, Zillow, Zillow.
Godzillo app, Godzillo app,
They'll sue
all
us,
these
right?
things that are happening. Yeah, that's right. They'll probably, yeah, they might. You never know. But we're small time. So, but still, what I'm saying is that all these things are happening. So it's not like and all these lawsuits are happening, and everything from RESPA to the FTC to CoStar and Compass and all these kinds of things. It's just because some of what Zillow's been doing is taking and saying, I'm going to hire this photographer or whatever, and they're going to be able to do nothing but, a Zillow, um,
Oh,
3D dollhouse of thing of the house, okay? But
really?
nobody else is going to be allowed to use that. Only it can only you can't say I can't hire the photographer and the photographer and I say, okay, well, I'm going to take this what you just did and put it on my website, okay, or put it some other website.
So they're
It's
even
not going to be
locking
allowed to
up
do that.
they're
Hmm.
locking up some of the people that the realtors
Hmm.
would work with. I know,
Yeah.
drone operators often that, one of their biggest
Hmm.
clientele are realtors who want
Yep.
drone fly-throughs or flybys for their houses.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly right. But you got to understand where Zillow's coming from, and that is, you know, I don't know, they think about 78% of buyers use Zillow as a part of their home buying journey. And so,
Wow.
yes, and so if they're doing that, and this is why Zillow has gotten so cocky
Hmm.
because they can.
Right. But
Yeah.
you buy a couple of Super Bowl ads and that'll help. I mean, that,
Exactly.
that's and I don't have anything against success,
I
but
don't either.
if you're being anti-competitive, where you're trying to keep another technology company, certainly, not stealing your technology, but if maybe you've innovated, you've got a different way to do
Yeah.
the search, and you've got a different GUI or whatever it is the kids call it that helps a realtor or a home buyer
Hmm.
search through it. It sounds like Google's, or not Google, Zillow is trying to squeeze them out.
Yeah, it kind of is. And it's really bad because you keep funneling all these customers back. And what the customers don't realize is that Zillow is selling your information.
Yeah, that's
Your
another one.
yeah, your contact information. And when you know how when you click the button that says I want more information,
Yeah, yeah.
that's sending it directly to a Zillow only approved realtor who's
Okay.
paying them to have their leads.
And is
That's
probably going to try to push you into a Zillow home
home loan
loan. Yeah.
or exactly. And so these are the things that are really upsetting everybody. These are the things that, it's this these alleged violations literally are of like the racketeer influenced
Hmm.
and corrupt organizations, the RICO
Yeah.
Act, as well as the Real Estate Settlement Procedures Act, which is the RESPA we talked about. And the
Oh, yeah.
plaintiffs are seeking, literally, these plaintiffs are seeking, about almost, like 25 grand per class member. Yeah.
Well, I guess if you've truly been damaged and a realtor's been kind of squeezed out of commission, or a
Yeah.
photographer's been squeezed out of
Mhm.
jobs and that kind of thing, that's what these class action suits are designed for. Now, certainly anyone who's gone through the Donald Trump saga knows, the lawsuit's one thing, and seeing how it plays out is
Right.
another. What's the
Exactly.
scuttlebutt? Is there settlements, or is this kind of stuff
We
going to
don't know
go
yet.
to court?
Yeah, it's just been piling up. So all these things have just been piling up, and you've got even just individual, I mean, like commission lawsuits that are happening. There's about a $1 billion in settlements that the National Association of Realtors and those big brokerages and all that kind
Hmm.
of stuff, all that stuff back in August of 2024 when it got settled, it kind of, threw things off a little bit. But Zillow didn't, they were not the ones being sued at that time. It was
Yeah.
it was National Association of Realtors and all these big, real estate brokerages.
Hmm.
And so when you I think what's happening is, when lawyers smell money, you know, there's just this, everybody has the wrong idea and that think that what everything that we do as realtors that we make too much money. And I hate to tell you this, but you might think that that's true. I can tell you right now, I would be a multi-millionaire if it was that easy.
Sure, sure. Well, they think the same thing about radio show hosts too,
Yeah.
because they figure,
Hmm.
they read Howard Stern's contract and they think, well, you must make something like that, and all you do is sit there and talk all morning.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
so what is the consumer, obviously you said 78% of people looking at a home, are going to
Yeah.
hit Zillow at least a little point. What's the educated consumer's angle on this? What should they be,
If you
you
get
know?
started on it, what I would recommend is that you not subscribe to it. In other words, they can see your algorithm and stuff like that. So,
Mhm.
but just don't subscribe to it so that they're not, emailing you or keeping you updated or things like that. Get a hold of a realtor. Call Find Homes Realty. Go to findhomesrealty.com. It'll show you all of our agents right there, and you can choose one of them, and you can also we have we can invite you to our core home, which is a great app that we can actually dig down way deeper and be able to give you much better, closer results instead of giving you houses you can't afford, or giving you
Right.
houses that don't have the criteria that you want,
Too
that
far
that
away, even. I
to,
mean,
yeah, or even the fact that it is maybe you wanted a first floor primary suite, or maybe you wanted um, you know different types of flooring or
Mhm.
whatever. You can go on our core app with Find Homes Realty, and you can literally talk into it, and it will give you real time, real places, and real criteria results that match what you're looking for.
Yeah,
And
that's helpful.
hmm and I think that this is something that if you're going to get more personalized service, you're not going to get that one that one agent that might that you get somebody that's seasoned. Yeah, you're going to be able to
Hmm.
get somebody that is it's they're about the quality of service
Hmm.
and not the quantity,
Right.
kind of thing. And they're not focused on, just strictly commissions. They're focused on your best interest. That's all I can really recommend to you is don't fall for the big company in that is trying to be everything.
Hmm.
And you can take, if you like the platform, I get it. You'd like the platform, hit the share button and share it with your realtor, what you want to
Oh,
see.
yeah.
Yeah.
Say, hey, I
Yeah.
noticed this. Is this something we
Hmm.
should look at?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a relationship thing, and I think this is the important thing about trust, and this is why I think you do this as this kind of infomercial for people.
Hmm.
It's and what do they call it? Edutainment. Um,
Edutainment. That's right. That's
um,
exactly right.
but because I think some of the problem is people don't want to talk to a real estate agent because they're afraid there's going to be like a hard sell or anything like that. Maybe they've gotten a wrong impression, a stereotype or something like that. So they figure, oh, I'll just go to the smartphone app and that'll lose it. And you wind up actually messing yourself up. It would be like wandering,
Does. Yeah.
up the Himalayas without a Sherpa.
Well, that's funny, but yeah, here's the thing: here's an example. You go onto these really big websites and whatnot, and first of all, they sell your information. Secondly, they are they're not highly focused on just you,
Hmm.
and so I had one. Buyer agent that told me that they were going to, they put in an appointment schedule and then they canceled it, right? And so I was like, why? And so they said, well, they contacted me through Zillow. And once I explained the process and the buyer agency agreement that they were going to have to sign in order for me to show anything, because that's the law,
Hmm.
okay, they decided they were not ready to move forward. So, the thing is that start with your realtor.
Yeah.
Call your realtor first. whatever app you're using, it's just call your realtor first, and
Mhm.
and then let them figure out, talk with you, really get to know you, really find out what you want, really find out how, the really good advice from them,
Mhm.
and so if you're serious about buying or selling real estate, don't just willy-nilly look online. You can, but hit the share button and send it to your preferred realtor.
Right. And
You
then you
know,
can actually have a real conversation with a real
that's right.
person who's a realtor
Yeah.
there. See what I did there?
Ah,
That's
you did
no,
good.
no
Yeah,
extra charge
exactly.
for the slogan. Thank you, Cynthia. You have a marvelous weekend. Hopefully you're busy and everyone's in a good mood when the UVA football
Yeah,
team
thanks.
goes into the college football playoffs
Oh,
and
nice, right?
they
I
all want to
know.
move to the area, right?
Yeah, that would be
And if we
great.
can get JMU in there too, then it's a win-win. People are like, what's going on in Central Virginia?
Well, go to findhomesrealty.com if you ever want to move. Okay.